Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
And new at 6, one of the country's most powerful women brings her clout to Michigan to focus on a shortage that has been slowing down the state's vital auto industry. Glad you're with us for Local 4 News at 6 tonight. We're following the push to solve the chip shortage that has so affected auto companies, their workers, and customers all over the world looking to buy new cars.
Michigan really feeling the pinch as the supply of new vehicles has fallen while prices are just rising. Local 4's Grant Herms live tonight with the push to make some changes. Grant.
You know, to add to that, we are talking about 1.7 million cars that didn't get built amid this shortage, sending prices, as you said, skyrocketing. Used cars right now up 40%. Also, no auto-grade chips are being made on U.S. soil right now. And the folks here today, including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, saying they want that to change. Speaker Nancy Pelosi in Taylor listening to union leaders and pushing for the passage of the CHIPS Act in Washington to ramp up production of vital technology for the auto industry.
Central to how our economy addresses inflation, job creation, collective bargaining with guardrails to protect the taxpayers' money.
The act, which has been led by Michigan's members of Congress and senators, sets aside $52 billion to help build factories and make more semiconductor chips. The shortage due to supply chain issues. Both Senators Debbie Stabenow and Gary Peters saying getting more chips made on U.S. soil is part of economic and national security at an event in Southfield today.
These semiconductor chips are in everything in our lives. We need to make them here at home. We need to make them in Michigan, and we need to make sure in the future we're not looking at idling plants.
And there's no way that the domestic auto industry can be reliant on foreign producers of these chips. This is about national security, economic security. The quicker we get these built, the better.
The timeline right now is the vote for this is set this coming Tuesday. A test vote was held in the Senate earlier this week and had enough votes. After that, it goes to the House, where members feel confident they'll get it by next Wednesday. Pelosi saying there will be bipartisan support. Now, another thing to note here is that should this bill pass, it's going to take quite a bit of time to get money to states and then to get that money from the states to either build new factories or pump money into existing ones and then get that into the chips to ramp all of this up. So we are talking about a pretty long tail, and this still has to get to the president in the first place. Back to you.
Grant, what are workers saying tonight on this?
You know, the workers here today that I spoke with and that I listened to here for about an hour and a half said they are ready to get to work and they want to be able to keep their jobs. That especially coming after that news that Ford may be cutting about 8,000 jobs at all levels, and the new job numbers from this month saying that month to month manufacturing jobs down about 2,300 between April and May. So a lot of folks here are concerned and they want these chips soon.
A huge issue. All right. Thank you, Grant.
President Biden made another brief appearance this afternoon as he battles COVID while isolating in the White House. President's team trying to show the commander-in-chief still doing well and still working for the American people. The White House shared a video of this virtual meeting in which he was talking about gas prices. The White House press secretary says the president is trying to set an example for all Americans.
He wants to remind Americans to get vaccinated because, in his own words, it matters. Look, the president hopes the country will see that while we should continue to take COVID very seriously, we have the tools we need to deal with this.
President had a slight fever overnight, but his temperature now back to normal after taking some Tylenol for that. Also continues taking the drug Paxlovid. The president will continue to isolate, he says, until he tests negative.
Now, tonight, the story of a family that's been living in fear, even holding a funeral in secret. They're mourning the loss of a teenager who was gunned down exactly 1 month ago today in Ypsilanti Township. Now, they're reaching out to Local 4 investigator Sean Lay. And Sean, they're ready to share more about this case in hopes of finding a cold-blooded killer.
They are. We're talking about the victim here, 18-year-old Sean Longoria. Here's his photo. His family came here from Texas after a major hurricane. Sean ended up being a big-time athlete at Ypsilanti High School, but gunned down a month ago in cold blood. No one's been talking about this case until now.
So it's exactly a month today that he was killed.
It has been 1 month since Sean Longoria was shot and killed. He was just 18. His mother living a nightmare.
It's like over and over and over. Like, I just left St. Joe's. They just called me. I just left my son.
But the teen's mother is afraid to be identified. Her son's funeral held in private. None of Longoria's friends from Ypsilanti High School could come say goodbye.
Because like the cop said, we don't know who it is. They could show up and we're in danger.
It happened in broad daylight June 23rd here in Ypsilanti Township on Harris by Cher. A flyer on the shop on the corner offering the family's $3,000 reward. But this mom says she's being told people here know where the killer lives nearby and are deathly afraid to speak up.
Somebody was on a bike chasing him, shooting. Your son was running. They shot him right in front of my door. I called 911. I tried to hold on to him. My neighbor held him.
And this mom's heart aches for her son and his friends.
They haven't got closure, again, because I wasn't able to have a proper funeral because we don't know who did it and we don't know if the killer was going to show up at the funeral or not.
Sean's mom and family able to get $3,000 together for a reward they're putting out themselves. They say no one has to give their name, but to call the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office. That Sheriff's Office tells us they continue to investigate. Meantime, Sean's mom has been reaching out to his teammates at Ypsilanti High School. They've been reaching out to her. They're having a very quiet, private vigil for him later tonight. We're live tonight. Sean Lay, Local 4, back to you.
All right, thank you, Sean.
Teenager accused in the Oxford High School shooting is going to remain jailed as an adult in the Oakland County Jail.
15-year-old Ethan Crumbly made a very quick virtual court appearance this morning. The whole thing took 2 minutes. The judge is required to check on his status every 30 days. Prosecutors and the defense agreed no change was needed right now. He has an iPad he uses to continue his high school education. The teenager faces several charges, including murder for the deaths of 4 students. His trial is set for January of 2023. Michigan Supreme Court has sided with the Macomb County prosecutor in a battle over hiring more workers. Prosecutor Pete Lucido went directly to the Board of Commissioners to get more money for his department. County Executive Mark Hackle argued that violated the county charter and he refused to fund the positions. Lucido took Hackle to court and now he's ready to post those jobs after the Supreme Court sided with him. The prosecutor says he hopes they can work together going forward.
For the second time this month, Cadillac giving us a glimpse into its future. Our business editor Rob Maloney takes a look at the unveiling of a new luxury electric vehicle, extreme emphasis on luxury with an eye-popping price. He's live in Warren to show us the car, but also its significance for the company. Rod.
Well, Devin, it's a game changer. And when I tell you a game changer, we're at the Tech Center here in Warren, where they usually design the cars, right? Well, they just put $81 million into a factory that they're going to have, and they're going to custom build the Celestiq right here. Cadillac rolled out its newest supercar online this morning, and while it looks like an auto show concept car, the Celestiq will become an actual production model. But it's not just any car. It's likely to sell for something on the order of $300,000. And we wanted a first-hand look today, but Cadillac had showed it to its dealers in California this week, and that's where it is, at least for the time being. But auto analyst and self-proclaimed auto extremist Peter DiLorenzo has seen it in person.
It is simply spectacular.
Peter's known as one of the toughest critics anywhere in the car business, and to win him over is no small feat.
The sheer presence of this vehicle, it's really impressive, dramatic, emotionally compelling, all the things you want on a hyper luxury car.
And when he says hyper luxury, that means that Cadillac's going head to head with Bentley and Rolls-Royce, lofty company indeed, and where Cadillac once stood in terms of quality and status. Lisa Halfman is Cadillac Celestiq marketing manager, proclaiming the car's very expensive intent.
To be an all-electric flagship sedan for the brand, and really it's to identify and be the pinnacle of, and really the purest expression of Cadillac designs, technology, and innovation.
It's a recommitment by GM and to make Cadillac the standard of the world.
Now, have you noticed when we talk about cars in this price point that the language changes a little bit? Like, for instance, normally you have a plant floor, an assembly line, and then you have line workers on that assembly line, right? Well, that's not going to happen here. They have union artisans who are going to be custom building the Sella stick. But boy, I'll tell you what, it is just a gorgeous car, don't you think?
Oh, well, $300,000, but with what you'll save on gas, it's probably only what, $299,000. So when does it go on sale, Rod?
$298.
$298.
Let's not quibble. They're saying 2025, but it sounds to me like they're pretty far along. So maybe they could get it done a little bit more quickly.
Yeah, well, it is a show pony. It is a gorgeous car. All right, Rod.
Well, in tonight's Help Me Hank consumer headlines, we have some surprising information about how much some people are spending to buy used cars. Important information on a rental scam. But we begin with airline prices. Consumer investigator Hank Winchester shows us when airfares might drop.
We've been tracking the airline prices for a while, and as you know, they certainly haven't been good. But here is the good news. Some relief is coming very soon. In tonight's Help Me Hank consumer headlines, as you know, airline prices have been soaring, up 50% from last year at this time. But we're told prices could drop big time in September. But prices may remain high at some smaller airports like Lansing and Flint. Rental scams are growing. Fake listings on Craigslist. Detroit, Atlanta, Los Angeles reporting the most victims nationwide. Never send deposit money without seeing a home or meeting the landlord in person. Used car prices continue to tick up. In fact, the average used car right now just over $33,000. Consumers paying an average of $10,000 more than they did in 2020. But trade-in values ticking up between 25 and 40%. I'm always tracking the very latest consumer news for you, and you can read all the headlines right on the Help Me Hank page at clickondetroit.com. We're here in Detroit. Hank Winchester, Help Me Hank, Local 4.